Okay, this is just a few of them, so let's go through them. I marked what the issue was. This one says faint Morse code. Okay. Dead, no amplifier. Sound rusty chip legs. This one is nondescript, so it hasn't been checked. This is very faint, like Morse code. And this one says, ooh, this one's a good one. Sounds like Geddy Lee. Good day, fellow Russians. Okay, I'm going to do this in reverse order of actually showing you how I fixed the board, but let's fix a soundboard. So this is going to be for Bally Kiss, and there's a lot of things that I'm going to talk about in this video and a lot of stuff that I picked up from somebody else who will get full credit when I explain what the thought process is to fixing one of these. But this is what you need before we begin. You need to make this thing predictable, and what I mean by that is I'm going to highly suggest you replace all the capacitors. You're going to replace the potentiometers. These are for the sound and the sustain. You're going to make sure you have the right chip and the board is jumpered properly. You're going to make sure all the headers have been reflowed. You're going to make sure you have a working speaker, a multimeter, and a cheap $20 chip tester. Okay, now I'm going to show you in the next step a site that I'm pretty sure the guy's name was Oliver, developed to help you fix these things. He's getting all the credit, and what I did is I deciphered it, made my own notes, and actually fixed, I think, 3 boards, 3 soundboards out of the lot that I have. And I'll show you how I fixed them as well. But before we get to that point, I want to talk to Oliver's site, and I want you to take some notes as to how we're going to fix it. So, okay, here's the site I'm talking about, Pinball for You, and I believe the gentleman's name that founded it is Oliver or Okaji. Hope I pronounced that right. Hope I got your name right. If you are a subscriber, if you happen across this channel or this video, please comment below and take a bow, my friend. Fantastic job. So what Oliver's done is he's taken the types of soundboards that go in these games and spelled a lot of stuff out for us. So for example, Lost World, $6 Million Man, Playboy, Supersonic, Star, Trek, and Kiss. We are working with a Dash 32 board. So AS25-32. If we look here, it says AS2518-32. This is the board that's represented here. So I am under the impression that the EEPROM number is what drives the settings for the jumpers. So if we look at this, he's saying that this U3 right here, or jumper A never, jumper B always. So we have the jumper B is on, we have the right prom. Now we can work on a board. Okay, now if we move up to a Dash 50, so one of these, for example, these are a bit different, and it says Dash 50 right there. I think you can make it out. With these ones, again, the EEPROM is going to drive the jumper settings. So if we're working on a Paragon, Harlem Globetrotter, or Dolly Parton, you need to have the jumper as B and C. So the jumpers here are B right here, and then C is right there. Okay, now, if we want to convert this into a Lost World, $6 Million Man, Playboy, Supersonic, Star Trek, it's B and D, but you also must add a capacitor and a resistor in the spots that he shows here. So there's the capacitor you need to add and the resistor. And I'm assuming if you're going the other way, you need to take them out. So if we look here, B is there, D is there, and we're missing the capacitor and the resistor. So if we want to make this into, like I said, a Kiss or Star Trek or whatever, you need to add those with the correct EEPROM. Okay, so now let's get into the method to the madness on how we fix these things. So you will see me in the video testing for 5 volts, testing for 43 volts, and testing for 12.5 volts. Now, I did talk about making these things predictable. So if you change all the caps, if you change, and we do all the soldering that we're supposed to on the back, like I said, you have a higher probability of getting the board to work and not chasing your tail. Okay, so real quick, here's 12 volt, here's 43 volt, 5 volt is up here, and then here's your ground. It says ground right on it, so test point 2 ground right there. Okay, once we got those readings, we go to the next section. If we don't have those readings, he gives you some ideas on how to fix them. So remember, all the boards are silk screened here, and you can go to the manual as well, and it'll tell you the component and where that specific component is. Okay, now some of it's in German as well, but I think it's just literal translation from what he's talking about here and put down here. Oh, one thing I should mention too. He designed this to be used with a scope. I guess with an oscilloscope. We don't have an oscilloscope. I don't anyway. So that's why I'm using that chip tester that I showed you. And even that, I don't really know how to use that well, but I had some pretty good success with it. So if you follow what I did, well, hopefully you should be able to fix what's going on. But he talks about making a, I don't know if it's making a or checking for a frequency generator. But this is, if the wave is not okay, then replace whatever. We're not using an oscilloscope. So what we're going to do is we're going to just jump right into what he's talking about here. All right, so what he did here, I basically put into something a little bit more readable for myself and just to follow my own sort of standard operating procedures. But what you're doing is checking U2, pin 4, if it's pulsing, it's good, so on and so forth. So I'm going to talk to that in a sec. And he's got some more fancy diagrams. So this is, I think this is in the manual. And I think this sine wave here talks to what you'd be looking at an oscilloscope with the sound actually on in test mode. So there's some more tests. He's telling you to replace capacitors. He's telling you to short pins out. If you're not hearing any sound, if no sound is heard, what to do, and so on and so forth. And then mail me. So again, this guy is legend. I took that information and I put it into an Excel spreadsheet. So this is basically what I did. Number one is you activate the self-test. Sorry, let's make the board predictable. Like I said, replace capacitors, potentiometers, solder the headers, check for any cracked solder joints. Put in self-check test position 4, and then check everything. So test point 1, test point 4, test point 3, check the resistors if these don't hold true, and so on and so forth. Of the 6 that I tried, none of them had issues with voltages. So we kind of went on to step 2. So what's step 2? Well, according to Oliver, step 1 is to check the U2 pin, U2 chip, which I'll show you on the next part of this video on how to check it. But then you're checking the pins. You're checking pin 4, pin 3, then you're checking pin 10 on the EEPROM, pin 2 on the EEPROM, pin 12 on U5, pin 12 on U4, pin 11 on U11. So now, if all those chips test good, this is the second half of what Oliver was talking about. So all chips test good so far. So if you have no sound or no sustain adjustment, you replace U8. If you have no sound, you can short pin 1 and 2 on U8. And again, if you have no sound, you replace pin 8. If you still have no sound, you replace U10. And if you still have no sound after that, you replace U9. Okay, so this is what I followed. And again, I was successful in fixing 3 boards, which I was more than happy with. The other ones, you're not going to see it on the video because it just sucked up too much time. I'll save it for another video, but we'll see if we can get those ones back to life. Okay, so to that end, now we're actually into the part of how I use the chip tester and fix these boards. I think I should talk about my setup here. Let me just turn it on, get it running. So it's basically a pinball machine on... Oh, okay. It's a pinball machine on a workbench. What I took is, this is a cabinet. And I have my credit, I have my test, I got my flippers, I got my start button, so, and then it's hooked up to the power supply. And I'm using a couple of new boards. This one actually is defective because it doesn't click the relays on, so I gotta send it in for some warranty work. And then that's the MPU with the KISS proms, and then there's my display. All right, you just heard this one come on, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through what a good working board should look like, and then we'll get into two for sure that we're gonna fix. And I'll show you how I did it. So first thing is I'm going to go into test mode. Okay, that's all lamps. That's display. That's solenoid. And this is the sound, test sound. So let me hang you up. I am going to turn the sound off. By unplugging it. There we go. Yeah, and I just have it hooked up to a speaker. All right, so let's get, first things first is let's check out some voltages. So I got my meter, and I'm probably repeating myself. I might go through this again when we fix a couple of boards, but just bear with me. So real quick, it's ground, which is right here. It says ground on it. Check the 12 volt, which is 12. I'm going to check the 5 volt, which is, well, check 43. It's right here. Perfect. Just lost my ground. And then I'm going to check my 5 volt, which is right there. Which I can't get a good grab on for whatever reason. And there's our 5 volt. Okay, so voltage is good. Now remember, I talked a lot about checking CR whatever. That first part of the flow chart will help us get to the voltages part. But remember, we're predictable, right? We have new pots, we have new capacitors, everything is flowed, and there's nothing that's going to cause us to go chasing our tail. So now let's hook up our probe. Black for ground. There's my ground. And I'm going to just hook it up to the 12 volt line. Okay, so this thing's alive. Again, I see TTL, CMOS, memory pulse, whatever. Don't really know. And this is kind of how I don't want to say I fluked it off, but this is how I did it, and it worked. So again, let's start with talking about test point 1, test point 2, and all that stuff. So the first step is chip number U1, which is right here. And it's telling us, let's go to, U1 is wave, which step 1 for U1 is checking the wave with an oscilloscope. We're not going to do it. So jump to step 2. We're going to check pin 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have noise coming in. So sounds good to me. Let's go to step 3. Step 3 is we're going to check U2 pin 3. 1, 2, 3. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. So anyway, 3 tests good. So if it didn't test good, we'd be changing this chip. All right. Now let's go to the EEPROM. So the EEPROM is a chip that is flashed coated at the factory. So that's the program chip, and it has you can still buy them, and you'll see on the some coming up videos of why we ended up changing one. But anyway, you want to go to test point 10. So remember, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's working, okay? Now we want to go check test point 2. 1, 2. I've got little marks there. That's how I'm getting these so quick. Okay, so the EEPROM is good. And those first TTLs are good. So now we're going to go to step 6, check U5 at pin 12. So here's U5, pin 12 is right here. Listen to it. Yeah, you can hear it singing its song. So this one, I'm assuming, is good. And now we're going to check U4. Same thing. It's singing away. Sounds good to me. Okay. Now we're going to go to U11, which is this one. Then we're going to check pin 11, which is right here. Listen to this. Sounds good to me. Okay, so that's the method to the madness of trying to figure out how the chips relate to the sum of the whole. So now, once you go past that, that's when we start talking about grounding out the pins here. So this is the U8, where it says ground these 2 pins out, pins 1 and 2. If you have no volume, then you're replacing these 2 chips here. Okay, the U9 and the which one's that? U10, I think, right? And if you go through it systematically like that, I'm going to say 99 out of 100 times you're going to fix one of these things. So let's go now to the first case of fixing one. Okay, let's try our first one. This is what it sounds like. So check pin number 4 on U2. So here is U2, and I've already listed out the pins. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is it not pulsing? Do I have my thing on? Oh, there we go. It's pulsing. I don't know why I don't have any sound. Okay, whatever. Put it on memory. You can hear it. Dut, 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 dut. Okay, so we have a pulse, so we're going to assume that's okay. And the next on our list is going to say, so it was pin 4. Pin 3 is check U2 pin 3. If it's not pulsing, then you got to replace it. So this is U2 pin 3. It's pulsing. So I guess that means that this thing is okay. Now the next step is to check the EEPROM. And so it's saying step number 4, check the EEPROM pin 10, which I've got marked here. So remember how you count the pins. You start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you jump up, 9, 10. So it follows that format. Okay, so pin 10, let's see what happens. Okay, it's making noise. And so I'm assuming that's good. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Now the next one is saying, so step number 5 is check U3 pin 2. There's pin 2. And if it says if it's not pulsing, replace it. Okay, nothing going on. So let's say that's a bit suspect right now. Okay, let's keep going. So now it's saying go to U5, which is a 4526. Check pin 12. So U5, that's the chip, 4526. We're going to check U12. Okay, that's making noise. So I guess that's good. And then we're going to check number 7. We're going to check U4. Same thing, it's a 4526. Check pin 12. So that's U4, there's pin 12. Okay, so that's making noise, so I guess it's good. And let's check U11 while we're here. It's saying U11. Check pin 11. So there's U11. There's pin 11. Okay, that's making some decent noise. Okay, so saying that is suspect. So let's change that out. And let's see what happens. Let me just turn my machine off here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it. I think I have this chip. I know I have this chip actually. So I'm going to socket it and replace it. And let's see what we get. So I'm just going to use my Hakko and my soldering iron to do it. I showed you on other videos many times how to remove sockets and remove chips and stuff. So let's get it to the point where I'm just going to install the chip and we'll try it. Okay, here's what we took out. 729-18. That's what's going in. Okay, let's turn it on, see what happens. Oh. Okay. All right, that's awesome. Okay, let me credit it up. This is my credit, so I hit that. That sounds good. And then I'll hit the start button, which is right here. Wow. This is perfect. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to bother going through this board anymore. Let's try another one. Okay, this one is saying very faint, like Morse code. So I've done some research on this before, and people are saying the Elite U11 chip. Anyway, okay, we're gonna let's test it right from the beginning. Let's go multimeter. It's on DC. Remember, DC is direct current, straight line. AC is an alternating current, represented by a squiggly line, which is right there. So this goes to ground, and ground is right here. Oh, you know what happened? It'd be a good idea if I turn the game on. Let's see what kind of noise it makes. Give it a sec. You can barely hear it. It's got the tick, 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 tick. And I'm going to put it in test mode here. There it is. Okay, listen. Tick, 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 tick. All right, let's get into it. So get out our multimeter. Ground is right here. So let's go to ground. Let's go to test point 1. 5 volts. Perfect. Stay on ground. Test point 3 is 12 volts, so that's perfect. And then I want to find the one for 43 volts. Where's that one? That is, come on, 43 volts. It's so obviously there's 12. Here it is, 43 volt. So test point there. Perfect. Okay, so that tells us we got voltage to the board, and the voltages are all good. So let's pull out You know what I should have done? I should have marked. That's okay. Let's put her on a guideline. And let's pull out our multimeter. I wonder if I could put these next to each other. I doubt it. But, we can. Except that light is kind of glazing. All right, step one. Remember, that's if you have an oscilloscope. So let's hook up our little probe here. So that goes to ground. And this is going to go to 12 volt right there. Perfect. Okay. Again, I'm just using it. I don't really know how to use this, but anyway, so test point 2 is saying go to U2, U1, U2, and it's saying test it on pin 4. Okay, that's good. It's going da 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 da. All right, now we're gonna go to U2, pin 3. Okay, so that should be okay. Now we're gonna go to the EEPROM. So step 4. It says EEPROM 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is here. So it says it's good. Now, what's this, step 5? It's saying EEPROM 2. Okay, so that appears to be okay. Okay. Now we're on to U5. It's saying pin 12. So U5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, listen to it. It's saying shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, U5. And I'm learning as you are here, guys. So U4. Saying pin 12 again. So 1, 2. It's the same chip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's okay. We don't know what type of chip it is, and it's saying 0.12. So okay, now it's saying U11, pin 11. Wow, that's totally legible, eh? But is it 12 or 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That sounds okay to me. Now, is this a CMOS? Or do I put it on pulse? Okay. Well, it's my hand. All right, let me shut this down before I blow something up. All right, so it's telling me that these chips are all okay. And now if I keep going, okay, test 1, no sound, no sustain adjustment. It's saying replace U8. So test 1, no sound, no sustain adjustment, which is kind of pointing to U8 here. Okay. And then it's saying, okay, test 2, no sound, short pin 1 and 2 on U8. If sound is heard, replace pin U8. Okay, let's try that. Let's turn it back on. Now remember, we're talking about being predictable. These pots, they're sus. Might want to. But I think I have an amplifier, because if I touch. Okay, well, let's not bust anything. Hold on. Let's go into test. You can hear it just. Okay, it's saying ground. Okay, check voltage after. Okay, test 1. No sound, no sustain. Replace U8. Test number 2. No sound. Short pins 1 and 2. Okay, no luck there. And if there's still no sound, replace the U10 and U9, which are very hard. Sound is heard, no volume control, press U9. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna replace these 2 pots. Let me try this pot, because who knows, like if this is really scratchy, could be it. So let me bring you back. I'll change them and we'll try it. Okay, so here's what I did. I replaced the pots. These are potentiometers. And I socketed the chips that is going to tell us to replace as we go down the list here. So let me put it in test mode. So again, here's my test jig. Okay, now that's checking displays. It's checking coils. Okay, this is sound. And we got nothing. Okay, so I've said here again, test 1, no sound, no sustain. It says replace U8 4049. Okay, so here's the 4049s. I have some. My local guy sells them, so I bought some. So let's try it now. Who knows with these chips? Some of them people say that you need the exact one. Other ones, you know, you need OEM. Let's give it a shot. I don't want to pull from other boards, so if anything, if we get any further than this in the video, awesome. If it stops here, then it stops here. Nothing I can really do about it. But I've also socketed the amplifier, and I don't know what that one's called, but I socketed that as well. So let's just make sure we get these in the right way. And you don't have to socket. You can drop this in and solder it if you want, but it's just easier for diagnosing. Okay, that's it. Let's see what happens here. Nothing. Let's put it in test. Okay, let's test. I'm gonna ground them out. Nothing. Okay, so I guess there was nothing wrong with this chip, but it is kind of crusty, dusty. Now what this is saying is, so test 2, no sound, short pin 1 and 2, which we did. If sound is heard, replace U8, which it wasn't. Okay, now it's going to saying you replace U10 and U9 in that order. So there's U9, there's U10. I socketed them. These chips are supposedly unobtainium, but look what I got here. So this is a LM380N. So that's for this one. And this is an LM741. That's for this one. Okay, let's try these. Again, are we shotgunning this here and just spraying everything and putting new chips in? Not really. I think we're following the order of operation here. And given the amount of money involved with these chips, it's not a heck of a lot. Now this could be the problem child here. Who knows? But this one tested out fine. Okay, we're gonna replace no sound, replace U10 and then U8, or U9 I should say. Okay. So I turned it off. Yes, I would love to take an OEM out of a working one, but I don't want to sacrifice a working one for one that potentially won't be working. So let's put this in. Okay, in we go. And remember, the little dot there represents number 1. And if you put your chips in properly, you'll see that there are cutouts. It's either a number 1 or this little index here. All right, let's try it. Nothing. Nope, still tick, 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 tick. All right, you know what? Why not? Let's do that one. Not holding out too much luck here. Oop. Love it. Wow, okay, that sounded kind of ugly, but it's going to... Wow. It's going to test. I'm pretty happy and I'm very proud of myself, I gotta tell you. So this is the crappy chip. So let's treat it in the manner it should be treated in, which is I bend the legs and throw it in the garbage and miss. Anyway, so that's not bad, eh? Yeah, there was some shotgunning here, but it wasn't that offensive, was it? Let me just turn you down here. So right down. That's really happy. I am kind of surprised, but I'm not overly shocked because we did follow the SOP that that's his name here. OKAEGI at pinballforyou.ch. This guy's legend. I love him. If I ever meet him, I'll definitely buy more than one beer. Anyway, so yeah, I'm very happy, and I hope you share my enthusiasm, because this is kind of the mess we got going on here. To put everything away, but I think I've got 4 or 5 more sound modules that I'm going to fix, and we're gonna call this video, and I'm also going to wow, beautiful. Just so happy for that. Let's credit it. Here's my credit, and then here's start. Okay, Russians, this is an over and out, and until we meet again, please, hey, I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. Please help me make that happen. I would be so grateful, and not to say that I'm going to stop the channel or anything like that, but I would definitely, that's something I want to do. Yes, like I said before, you could go out and buy a brand new board with all the different games in them and all that, but where's the fun in that? Like, this didn't take that long, and I learned a new skill, I can tell you that. And yeah, wow, who would have thought, eh? Okay, over and out.